Ever get that feeling that, like, really mastering a language, it goes way beyond just, like, I don't know, memorizing words from a dictionary.
Totally.
Like, there's this whole
Yeah.
other level
Yeah.
of understanding.
Like you can know all the rules, all the grammar,
Right.
but still not quite grasp how to actually ease the language, you know?
Exactly. It's those subtle cues,
Yes.
those turns of phrase.
It's the stuff that makes you sound like a natural, not just some robot who's memorized a textbook.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today, those little nuances that add color and depth to communication. We're talking idioms, slang, even a surprisingly versatile vocab word.
We're going deep, my friend.
Deep dive is right. All right, so picture this. You're chatting with someone from the UK, right?
Yeah.
And they casually mention feeling gutted.
Okay, now before you go, picturing someone clutching their stomach in agony.
Uh-huh. Right.
Remember, this is Britain we're talking about.
And they are the masters of understatement.
Exactly. Gutted in this context isn't just a little upset. It's way more intense than that. Think of it this way. Imagine that feeling you get when something you were really looking forward to just totally falls apart.
Ugh, my stomach just sank thinking about it.
Right. That sinking empty feeling, that hollowness that's being gutted.
It's like that feeling of something vital being ripped away, leaving just this void.
Our source even compares it to literally gutting a fish. You know, that emptiness that's left behind. That's the feeling they're going for.
Wow, that's a powerful image. And it really shows how different cultures express strong emotions in such different ways.
Subtlety is key.
It's about conveying a lot with just a single word.
Which I have to say can be a bit tricky if you're not familiar with all the ins and outs of British communication.
For sure. Okay, so let's say, for example, your team loses the championship game. And not just lose it, they lose in the last few seconds.
Brutal.
The ultimate heartbreaker. Yeah, you'd be gutted.
Absolutely gutted.
Or imagine pouring your heart and soul into this project. I'm talking blood, sweat, and tears. And then it completely flops.
Yeah.
Nobody even looks at it
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely feeling gutted.
And it's these subtle meanings, these little nuances that can really make or break true fluency in a language, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Understanding them gives you a much deeper appreciation for the culture and how people actually express themselves. And speaking of strong emotions, you know, those moments that really get your heart racing, let's move from those mean streets of Britain all the way to the racetrack.
Okay.
Because our next idiom, it perfectly captures that feeling of anticipation, that down to the wire.
Oh, I love this one. It's so visual. You know, you
Yeah.
can practically hear the crowd roaring, feel that tension in the air.
Oh, absolutely.
It's those situations where everything is on a line right up until the very last second.
Right, and our source actually points out that this idiom, it comes straight from the world of horse racing. So picture this. You've got those horses neck and neck.
Thundering towards the finish line.
Exactly. And back in the day, they used to use an actual wire.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
strung across the finish line to determine, who actually won.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yep. So when a race was down to the wire, it meant it was too close to call, like a photo finish.
It's incredible how these phrases we use every day can have such, like, a rich history behind them.
Oh, I know. It's fascinating.
But the thing is, you don't have to be a jockey to experience these down-to-the-wire moments. I mean, think about it. A project deadline you're scrambling to meet.
Been there?
Or even just trying to get dinner on the table as your family's walking in the door. Anytime you're right up against the edge, that's down to the wire.
It's that universal feeling of, oh my gosh, this is it.
Exactly. Okay, but now let's shift gears a little bit and dive into a word that has surprising depth. And I mean that both literally and figuratively. You ready for this? Fathom.
Fathom. I like it.
It's such a great word. And it's amazing how it can be both a noun and a verb, and it still has this depth of understanding baked into it.
Yeah.
You know?
What's really interesting is that the original meaning of fathom is actually, well, it's literal.
Really?
Yeah. For those of us who haven't spent much time on sailing ships, a fathom is a unit of measurement.
Okay.
It's 6 feet, to be exact. And sailors would use it to figure out, like, the depth of the water.
Oh, to make sure their ships wouldn't run aground.
Exactly. So to fathom something, to really understand it deeply, it's like those sailors figuring out the depth of the ocean.
You need to know what you're getting into.
Right. It's about going beyond the surface level, exploring all the complexity.
And having that aha moment where it all clicks into place.
Precisely. Like, have you ever been wrestling with a problem, really trying to unravel it, and then suddenly the solution just hits you.
Oh, totally.
That's you fathoming the problem.
You know what I love about language?
What's that?
Sometimes, just sometimes, a word has this inherent optimism baked right into it.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
And I think our next idiom is a perfect example of this. We're going to talk about turning over a new leaf.
Turning over a new leaf, it just has such a hopeful ring to it.
Right. It's about fresh starts, new beginnings. It's about that chance to, I don't know, to rewrite your story.
Absolutely. And this idiom, much like the others we've talked about today, it actually has a really interesting origin. You see, the word leaf, it used to refer to a page in a book.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, so turning over a new leaf, it's like you're literally opening up to a brand new chapter,
Right.
leaving all that old stuff behind.
Ah, I love that visual. It's like hitting the reset button,
Exactly.
shedding old habits, maybe some past mistakes, and just approaching things with this fresh perspective.
It's about recognizing that you're not defined by what happened yesterday.
Right.
It's about the choices you make today.
It's empowering.
It is. It's that reminder that you always have the ability to change, to try again.
To start fresh. So I want you to think for a second. What's one area in your life where you'd like to turn over a new leaf? Maybe it's finally sticking to that workout routine,
Oh, that's a good one.
or finally tackling that pile of paperwork that's been sitting on your desk for, well,
We've all been there.
or maybe it's something a little less tangible,
Okay, like
like maybe making a conscious effort to just be more present with loved ones,
being more mindful. I like it.
or finally letting go of a grudge that you've been holding on to.
Ooh, yeah, those grudges can really weigh you down.
Exactly. And the beauty of this idiom, turning over a new leaf, is that you can apply it to so many different areas of life.
Big or small.
It's just this great reminder that every single day is a new opportunity for a fresh start,
I love that.
the chance to write that new chapter. And who knows, maybe add a little more linguistic flair to your story while you're at it.
Absolutely. And there you have it. We journeyed from the streets of Britain to those heart-pounding racetracks,
Uncovering hidden meanings.
exploring those subtle nuances that make language so fascinating.
We saw how a single word, gutted, can tell us so much about a culture.
And how a horse race gave birth to an idiom we still use today.
And who knew that a sailor's tool for measuring the ocean's depth could become such a powerful metaphor for understanding?
It's all connected. So remember, keep your ears open for those interesting turns of phrase, those words that make you stop and think.
Because you never know when you'll stumble upon your new favorite idiom.
Happy exploring, everyone.
Until next time.